Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, February 19th, 2026, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. USA Hockey wins gold. Well, the women did anyways. That game just finishing up a little while ago. In overtime, 2-1. I'm not sure if that was Mitch Keller, it was some Keller, Megan Keller, Maddie Keller, one of the Kellers. Anyways, they scored a goal. The United States wins 2-1. Unfortunately, just like the rest of the Olympics, I didn't see any of it. I did watch a little bit of men's hockey earlier this weekend. And of course, we know the Sidney Crosby injury that was sustained yesterday, which then brings that question up one more time. Should the NHL allow their players to play in the Olympics? Honestly, it doesn't really benefit the National Hockey League, and we'll talk a little bit about why that is here in a little bit. But it looks like Crosby may have dodged a bullet, which means the Penguins may have also dodged a bullet. We'll tell you what we know about the Crosby situation. And, of course, the congratulations to Team USA Women winning gold over Canada 2-1 in overtime. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in Bradenton. Yeah, they're all there getting ready for the first preseason game, which will be this Saturday against the Baltimore Orioles. And I actually have to shout out the local hack media for once, the ones that cover the Pirates actually doing their job, making sure that no one forgets about Connor Griffin, because the Pirates have tried to make you forget with Lau and O'Hearn and Ozuna to make it seem okay when he doesn't make this roster out of camp. But they keep showing him to you, which is good, because when you have a major league roster that features Jared Triolo, it certainly isn't the best possible lineup that you can put out there on the field. So we'll see what the decision is with Connor Griffin when the Pirates break camp at Bradenton at the end of March. In addition to that, we will look at the beginnings of what could be a very eventful March Madness tournament in the NCAA men's basketball field. A lot of good basketball being played. Not that I've seen a ton of it, but you get to this middle toward the end of February and you start thinking about those brackets and that money that you're hoping that you're going to win by betting on it. What is potentially March Madness going to look like? Well, we know if you're a fan of local teams, you certainly don't have to worry about Pitt or Penn State being in there. So at least you won't have to worry about filling out that bracket with your heart this time around. You can try to put the actual best teams in there. Not a lot of news from the Steelers this week, but there is something I want to touch on that may somehow, some way be a Steelers storyline as we make our way into free agency. So I'll get into that as well. And whatever else comes up. This is usually not that slow of a news week, but with the Olympics, it's become a very slow news week. Maybe I can tell some more stories about the origin of the show. Who knows what we could potentially get to by the time this show is over. Probably not any more than what I normally do, but we can hold out hope and try. I was a little bit late coming over. I was doing the alternate version of my show across the hall over there, which actually is much better than the regular show. But I had to come because the TV cameras started to roll, so I had to make sure I got over here to get the Sports Voice started. And where better to start than Milan and the Olympics? You know, Nick's been over there. I was surprised when they did the Olympic update. Nick wasn't the one giving it. We had heard that WNBS was flying him back and forth almost on a daily basis to be able to do live coverage from these Olympic Games, which are set to end here at some point over the weekend, I think. Are they over this weekend, or is it like 3-4 weeks? Does Easter come before the Olympics are over?
Oh, no, right around Pitt's bowl game. That's when the Olympics wrap up.
Okay.
Easter. Yeah.
Wasn't sure. Wanted to make sure we got that straight. This is why Nick covers the Olympics and not me. The United States with hockey going into it with a lot of expectations for both men and women. Just a little while ago, the women win the gold 2-1 in overtime over Canada. You'll see a similar matchup on Sunday as Team USA men will also take on Canada for the gold medal potentially again. Now, the United States may be a little more involved in this when the announcement came out yesterday that Sidney Crosby not only suffered a lower body injury, which if you watched, you could see it's a leg injury, but his status was in doubt for the gold medal game. Canada coach John Cooper today saying that's not necessarily the case. We've not ruled him out of that championship game. They've also ruled out surgery. So that's good news for the Penguins and for Penguin fans, because the entire season and the potential of making the playoffs for the Penguins revolves almost solely around Sidney Crosby. So if he misses any time whatsoever, we know there are 17 games in the next 30 days once the NHL season resumes after their Olympic pause. That could put a huge monkey wrench into those chances. So still not 100% certain. It's very unclear as to what the immediate status will be of Sidney Crosby, but it brings up the question again. It's been 12 years since the National Hockey League has allowed its players to play in these Olympic Games. There actually were concessions made in the collective bargaining agreement because the players wanted to be able to play in the Olympics. So for the NHL to get the concessions that they received, it kind of made sense. Let's just let them go over there and play. Why the CBA had concessions, I don't know, because there's a handful of players that go from the NHL and play in the Olympics. Like if you're a third or fourth liner, you really want to concede so that the first and second liners can go over and play in the Olympics. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but yet they did it. The National Hockey League, you would think if they're all in on something like this, it would have to be something that's going to benefit them. And quite honestly, it doesn't. Like I watched a little bit of the United States versus, I don't know, whoever they played on Saturday. That tells you how closely I was watching. But I did have it on, and I was paying a little bit of attention. When you look at the rink that they skate on, it's 100% different. First of all, it's wider, it's bigger. And the lines, if the NHL would actually adopt what Olympic hockey does, they might actually get more viewership. National Hockey League hockey is boring. Not only do you have guys that are all crunched up together in a very small area, but when you look at where the blue lines are for the zones, they're minute as far as the area you have, and it prompts an icing call almost every couple minutes, which I'm sure the advertisers like because half the time they go to a TV timeout and go to commercial. But in the end, when you watch it in the Olympics, it seems like it's fast-paced, action-packed. You're not seeing a ton of whistles. And I know they're playing a different style. No one's really hitting unless you're France and then Tom Wilson wants to get into a fight with you. But for the most part, it is a different game. I think the National Hockey League needs to go a little more along the lines of what Olympic hockey looks like if they want to sustain a fan base. Because honestly, you got a sport that's niche, it's regional. You only normally watch your local team, as we say on here, the team closest to your house, unless you have a rooting interest in maybe a player like McDavid or Celebrini or, one of the stars of hockey on another team. But outside of that, you're probably not sitting around saying, you know what, I'm gonna tune in because Nashville's playing Carolina tonight, and I really want to watch that game. Chances are that's not happening. Now, if the Penguins are playing either of those teams, you're probably watching. If the NHL changed a little bit, made it look a little more like the Olympics, would that then prompt viewership to be more than just regional? Would you actually watch games that don't feature the team closest to your house? Would it be more exciting? Would you see more goals? Would you see less commercials, less timeouts, less stoppages? I mean, I think in the end, that's what you need. People, attention span today, based on cell phones and social media and everything that we have out there, attention span today is minute. You've got to entertain constantly. And I think with hockey, with as many timeouts, as many stoppages, as many commercials, I can see someone turning the channel and forgetting to turn back to see what happens. And if that's the case, then they're really not on the edge of their seat for this product. I didn't want to turn away watching the Olympics. And I'm watching America absolutely destroy the team that they're playing. But yet still, I was into it because it was exciting. And maybe because it was all superstars that were out there for Team USA, but I don't think it had to be. I think it just caught my eye because it's different from what I'm used to watching. It's much more fast-paced. There's much less stoppage to the games that are going on. And I think it's an eye catcher. That's why when you look at Olympic hockey, the viewership is high. And then when you look at the NHL, the viewership is low. I don't know what the answer is, but honestly, if the NHL is going to allow their players to play and risk injury, then they need to at least somehow benefit from it. Change your style of hockey. Adapt it to what the Olympics look like, and then maybe, just maybe, even if one of your top stars does get hurt, the product is so exciting that people will watch anyways. Nick Barczyk is here with me.
USA.
Yes, Nick is a hockey aficionado.
Love it.
Are you a former Olympian?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Lawn darts.
Okay.
Drunken lawn darts. I am an uncle after all. That's what we do at picnics.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at that, there's a lot of different scenario. We know the patriotism that usually accompanies the Olympics, and with hockey being a team sport, I don't think maybe it loses some of its luster than some of the individuals that we see, like Michaela Schifrin, who finally won gold.
That was awesome,
your boy, the dancer, the quad.
Malanen, he finished 8th. He struggled.
Yeah, didn't really do that well. But we always kind of associate the individual, maybe not the team so much. But there is a lot of viewership for Olympic hockey.
Well,
the NHL, could they take a lesson from that?
Well, here's my theory. What would you watch more or think is more urgent to watch and is a bigger event? A hockey tournament once every 4 years, or the NHL game, which is on every night for 6 months? I think that's a lot of it. The Olympics are so rare. It's once every 4 years. And you could say, well, basketball, the NBA ratings are better than the Olympic basketball ratings, and that is true. But I think for hockey, being a niche sport, it's not native to America like baseball, basketball, and football are. I think people get up and are more excited for this Olympic tournament than they will be to, say, watch Nashville against Buffalo on a random Tuesday night in January. So I think that's the main issue. The style of play is one aspect, but I think the scenario I just laid out is maybe the bigger one.
But where does the NHL go from that then? How do they change that perception? Like, honestly, you know how much I complain about Major League Baseball, but I'll bet more people watch the weekly Major League Baseball games than will watch this World Baseball Classic that's coming up.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're maybe right. And I think all the sports except the NFL have an issue there with people just watching their local teams. Baseball.
You don't think more people will watch flag football in the Olympics?
They might. Jalen Hurts is in the commercial. So
did they watch it when they called it the Pro Bowl a couple of weeks
with
ago?
Shadur. He's a Pro Bowler.
There's a Pro Bowler.
He's the worst quarterback in his division. But yeah, he is actually. But yeah, baseball, basketball, and hockey struggle because people see them. They are regional and they're on every night. It's hard to get people to watch those Monday through Friday sports. Why are college football and specifically the NFL killing it only on the weekend? Yes, they have Monday and Thursday games, but the main games are Saturday and Sunday. So events still do very well. The World Cup does well. The Olympics do well. The Super Bowl does well. Those big Sunday 4:30 games do well. What's not doing well? Reds versus San Diego on a Tuesday night. Sabres against Bruins on a Wednesday night, Thunder against Heat on a random weeknight. So you get what I'm saying. Events draw well because we are distracted.
Yeah, but I know you love the Pirates, so you're going to watch the Pirates or listen to the Pirates all the time. But
that's an exception.
If the Dodgers are playing the Yankees,
right,
you'll turn that on.
Yeah, but that feels like an event. Oh my God, Dodgers, Yankees, Ohtani against Judge. That feels like a big deal.
Well, even a team like San Diego, they have Tatis.
The Pirates don't feel like a big deal unless Skeens is pitching. But I watch them because I grew up with them. That's a different story.
Right. But I think you can find enough. Except maybe the World Series teams a couple of years ago where people insisted they didn't know anybody.
Yes.
But even San Diego, you threw them out. Tatis is there.
Corbin Carroll's no Aaron Judge and Ohtani.
But people know who he is at least. My fear is they don't know these guys in the NHL.
Well, they know the older guys, Crosby and Ovechkin. Why are they marketing these younger guys?
And that's an issue. They don't market. And I think maybe they hope the Olympics will market hockey for them, but it's a totally different version of hockey. So if people do tune into the Olympics to watch it, and they like what they see, they're not going to see that when they turn on the NHL.
That's true.
It's much more condensed. There's too many people in a small area. The lines are crazy. I mean, those lines are so close to those nets. Pretty much anything you shoot is going to be icing if it goes down to the other end. Where in the Olympics, not that not the case. I was impressed with what I saw. Not that I hadn't seen it before, but with it being every, so many years, what is it, every 4 years that thing comes up?
Yeah.
You don't see it, and maybe that's the novelty of it.
That is
you
a
don't
novelty.
see it every day. And when you watch it 4 years later, you kind of forget some things.
Right.
And you're like, oh,
sure.
this is cool. This is different. They're moving. It's fast. There's all this stuff going on. Yeah,
And
I
you
think
take it
they're-
for granted. When there's a game on every night, I won't watch it tonight, but I have a lot of other chances. When the Olympics are around, it's, this is only 2 weeks every 4 years. You almost have to watch it. So I think that's an issue there. And yeah, I mean, when you have so many games in baseball specifically, those owners will never knock down the schedule. They don't want to lose that revenue. I'm sure the same thing is true in the NBA and the NHL. But when you have so many games, it's not drawing people to a TV because they say, I can watch it next time. There's so many games, you don't feel the need to rush to the TV.
And football does have considerably less than every
Of
other
course.
sport. So it does
They have
make
to.
it a little more important to watch it every week.
Yes, because they're tackling each other. They have to, or they'd be dead. But yeah, I mean, that's an issue. And the NFL's laughing all the way to the bank as they look at these other sports with so many games not get ratings.
Right, but they almost have to keep those games now because the players coming in, they want to be the best ever, and that revolves around stats. And all of the people prior played that many games, so if they play less, they're not going to get nearly enough stats to break any records, which is going to cost them money because that's how they get paid.
Well, that's what
no
they
one
care
gets
about.
paid for the team; they get paid for their individual contribution.
I don't think some 22-year-old cares about breaking Hack Wilson's single-season RBI record. He wants incentives in his contract.
Right. Well, he cares about it if it's going to pay him.
That's what I mean.
Because then he can walk around and say, hey, I'm the all-time RBI leader.
That's right. Monetary incentives, which buys them the nicer house and the nicer car, even though pro athletes do just fine.
And the nostalgia days are done. Nobody cares about that anymore.
No.
They care about
Some
it
people do.
because
I do.
they want to get paid for it.
Right.
That's the only
players.
reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some stat heads that love that.
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
I mean, the fan base, they
Fans care.
Right. But the players don't care.
No.
They're not worried
I
about
doubt
stuff
it.
like
I
that.
doubt the average 21-year-old cares.
So then this brings in the other question. Obviously, we saw what happened to Sidney Crosby yesterday.
Yeah.
May have dodged a bullet. From what we hear, looks like no surgery required. They're taking him day to day. Cooper said he might play Sunday. So we might not see him miss any time in a Penguin uniform. But it's definitely got to make the NHL think because, okay, they received some concessions in the CBA to allow this to happen. Their players really want to do this. But in the Olympics, you're playing for patriotism. In the NHL, you're playing for multi-million-dollar contracts. And the team is on the hook for that, even if you get hurt in the Olympics. Those contracts in the NHL aren't like the NFL. Everything's guaranteed. See the Penguins still paying Jack Johnson all these years later. So you can't just get out from underneath these things. So the NHL could potentially be risking playoff teams, the playoff ratings in general, over maybe one or two of these guys that go down for significant time based on an injury they sustain in a competition like this or the Four Nations or any other stuff that they want to throw out there. So the NHL definitely has the right to put their foot down and say, look, none of our players are going to participate in these things while the season is going on. If you want to do this, you've got to do it in the off season, which good luck playing hockey in the summer. But the NHL could do that. Now, the deal they've just entered into with the players, that's going to change. For 12 years, the NHL did that. 2014 was the last time NHL players played in the Olympics. That was when Dan Bylsma thought it was a good idea 36 times to put TJ Oshie out there for a shootout. That was the last time we saw hockey with NHLers in the Olympics. It's been college and, those types of players that have played within the last 12 years. So, does the NHL say, look, we're the ones that pay these guys. We're the reason why they're recognizable names, why they're big stars, why you want them on your Olympic team. We refuse to allow them to play in the Olympics because nothing that's done there benefits us in any way. And quite honestly, Nick, it doesn't, because I've just told you how the hockey style is totally different from what you see in the Olympics compared to what you see in the NHL. In all the years they've sent NHL players, the ratings have never responded. There's never been a connection where, oh, hey, we're going to watch the Olympics, the ratings are huge, and then the NHL ratings spike because of it. They might for the first couple of games after, and then people are like, this is boring. This isn't what we've been watching for 3 weeks. And then they decide to turn it off. So if the NHL is going to allow this, and I guess the first question is, should they allow it? And if the answer is yes, then when do they change? When do they adapt so that they can actually get something out of the Olympics? Could be a great marketing tool for them if it was the same style of hockey. But the Olympics are not going to conform to the NHL, nor should they. Will the NHL finally hit a breaking point where they say, we're a regional sport, our ratings are terrible, we need to get viewership, why don't we just make our arenas look like the Olympics?
Yeah, they may do that. And when you're a league like the NHL and they're struggling to get casual fans, really there's no casual fans of any of the sports, I think, except football. I mean, there's a few basketball, baseball, and hockey seem to have the die-hard fans that are going to be there no matter what. So,
but in football, are they
go ahead.
fans or are they watching because they're betting on it?
Oh, that's a big part of it. Fantasy football just feels like an event. I go back to that word again, tailgating when you go to the stadium. Football's, I think, by far the best sport on television. And yeah, that's a good point. There's ancillary things, not just connected to the game with football more than the other sports.
So should they change? I mean,
Should the NHL change? Well,
but how do you do that? You've got all these arenas that are already equipped for their style, plus the replay system and everything is all set up. I mean, there's a lot of money that would have to be invested just to redo everything that's there.
well, if you think it would work and would gin up interest in fans and get more butts in the seats and more eyes on TV, then why not? Because I'm not sure there's a dollar figure you could put on that. That's priceless. But are Gary Bettman, the owners, willing to do that? I don't know.
One of the things that I hate the most about the National Hockey League is the ridiculous number of icing calls that stop the game.
This is your favorite sport, and you still have a lot of
Can't stand it. No, just that one.
Yeah.
Because it slows the game down.
Yeah, I agree.
You start to build momentum. What they need to do is eliminate the center line.
Yeah.
The only way it should be icing is if you shoot from within your own zone and it goes across the other blue line. That should be icing. That center line should be eliminated. I mean, you can keep it there if you want to do a face-off or something at center ice, but that line should be eliminated. There would be so much fewer icing calls made in games. But the problem is there would also be much fewer commercials, so now you affect the advertising. But quite honestly, with what they've been able to do with all this AI-generated stuff, where it looks like when you watch it on TV, you've got these logos and things for all of these sponsors.
Sure.
With all of that, why do you need to go to a commercial as often as you do? Like you could eliminate the center line, cut down tremendously on the icing calls, still showcase all the products like they're actually there on the boards and on the ice and in the stands and wherever else on the glass, wherever they put these logos, these generated logos. Why not just do that? I think if people don't have a reason to turn the channel, they won't turn the channel.
Right.
But if you give them numerous reasons to turn it, there's always the chance they're not going to turn it back.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point. You're right. And if the game's compelling, if it looks good on TV, if it looks good in the arena or the stadium, they're going to keep showing up. They're going to keep watching. They're not going to change the channel. And you're right. There's so much competition. Cell phones, not even that. The internet in general, just all the stuff to do in life, Netflix, all that stuff. But if the game's entertaining, you're not looking away. And if it feels like an event, again, that word, even a boring game, people aren't going to turn away from the Super Bowl, which for many was a boring game, but you have the halftime, you have the commercials. So if you make it a more entertaining product overall, people are not going to look away. So if the NHL feels they need to, you don't have to adapt or adopt all of the Olympic aspects, but take some here and there. And if the ratings go up, keep doing it. But why not try it?
No, and quite honestly, like even in football, like you've got red zone. People
Right.
that are just betting, they don't care what's going on in the game.
No.
They just turn it there to get the stats. And I think with the NHL, you're looking at the same thing. Like 5 minutes after the game, there's a compiled list of highlights. You can watch every important part of that game in 5 minutes.
Right.
Instead of sitting there and spending 3 hours going through commercials and whistles blowing and face-offs. And you don't have to deal with any of that. You can get the top whatever plays of each game, and in 5 minutes, you can see it like you watch the whole thing. That's the thing I think that a lot of these sports haven't evolved to. This is what it's become. So you need to build something in there to keep people's attention to watch your product, not the 5-minute highlight reel after, to watch your product. And honestly, I don't like in any way this nonsense with the Savannah Bananas and this garbage that goes on, this ancillary stuff. But at least there's something going on. Whenever they have a stoppage, they've got some nonsense going on that still has people's attention. I hate to say that you need to carnivalize it and make it into a show every single game, but if you don't have people going and you don't have people watching, maybe you need to do a little bit of that just to get some interest there. And then if you get people, even the casual person, to tune in just for that, they might become a fan. And you might actually they might realize, hey, this game's actually pretty interesting, and it might turn them into a fan that they would not have been if you didn't have the extras.
Well, sports are a show. They are entertainment, and it's a TV show. That's why we always say with the Olympics, they program what will get the best primetime rating. Same with March Madness. When they talk about seeding, they have matchups they have in their head. We'll make this team of 5, we'll make this team of 12, because that's going to be a better TV matchup, better TV rating. So it is all a show, but carnivalizing it to that point, I'm not saying go Globetrotters or Bananas level, but I know what you mean. If people feel your product's entertaining, they will watch it. The more they watch and go to the games, the more money you'll make, and capitalism still thrives in America, so that's the goal of all these leagues, to make as much money as possible, I would think.
And the Penguins try in the arena to make that experience good. Like, they do a lot of stuff. Whenever they do all these whistles and these commercials, they're giving things away. I watched Nick almost go over the railing trying to get a straw hat a couple of weeks ago when they were there.
Yeah, Brian held me back.
Yeah, I mean, they do, I think, a lot to expand upon the fan experience there. But the game sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired. And I really do wish the NHL would evolve a little bit. And other sports have done. It might not have liked everything they did to change, but the NHL doesn't really change much of anything. Why not take a look at what's working for, say, the Olympics and say, what can we incorporate into our product that is similar to that might get us a little bit more viewership to make it not so regional? I mean, your TV contract is a joke. You've got You've got a company that purchases you an entire station that won't put you on TV. They put you on a streaming service. And then the other two, TNT and TBS, I mean, depending on whether or not they're showing a Marvel movie that night, you might get on the air or you might not. You might have to wait till the next night when they don't have any movies to show. I mean, it's not a good look for the NHL. It's hard to find them. You don't know, even like watching the Penguin game, you don't know if it's going to be on the local station. You don't know if it's going to be on the national station. There's not a really good job of advertising that's done by the NHL. And a lot of teams with their local contracts have struggled. We talk a lot about Major League Baseball not being able to sustain their local markets. The NHL is in trouble with that too. Pittsburgh got lucky because the ownership of the team bought a station and put the team on there. The new ownership's not going to do that. They'd be lucky if they can make payroll, let alone be able to get the games televised. So you start to run into some situations that might not be the best in a given state. The NHL needs to take a look at this, I think, seriously, because we were at the Penguin game a couple of weeks ago. It was packed. But you could have gone a week before and there was half the arena not there. Yeah. They can't sustain the price of admission. They don't have season ticket holders like the Steelers do, even like the Pirates do. They just don't have it. You go if you can get a discount on, Ticketmaster, whatever, StubHub. Outside of that, you're probably not paying full price or you're not going. That's kind of where we are with that. So, I mean, that's what it is, and it's fun. I'm sure this gold medal game will be fun this weekend. I could imagine. I didn't get to watch the women's game because I was working and then on my way here, but I'm sure it was a great experience as well. And congratulations to Team USA Women winning the gold medal earlier this afternoon against Team Canada. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll just stick with hockey, I guess, for the first hour. We'll take a look at where the Penguins are right now and where they could potentially be and what impact could be created if Sidney Crosby is going to miss time, because we've still not had confirmation that he isn't going to miss time. We know he's not having surgery, but he couldn't support weight on that leg yesterday. So I think a lot more being unsaid than said at this point. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thursday is another CR Prado Group High School Sports Night here on WMBS. Join us for WPIL High School Girls Basketball Playoff action as the Geibel Lady Gators will host the St. Joseph Spartans. I'm Brian Morozak. Tony Hanola will join me to bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. Our Sprouse Insurance Group pregame show will start at 6:10 with the opening tip-off set for 7 o'clock. This WPIL 1A quarterfinal round high school basketball playoff action. St. Joseph at Geibel Thursday at 7 here on WMBS.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
That sneeze was in a different zip code, and I still felt the germs.
Relax, Randy. I went to Montgomery Medical. I'm fully shielded.
Like a flu shot?
Flu, COVID, the works. If you haven't caught up on your shots yet, they'll get you sorted in minutes. It's basically a suit of armor, but with less clanking. Then do the double shot. After Montgomery Medical, head over to Renew You Medispa. I got their Immunity IV drip.
A Medispa?
You relax, you hydrate, and you give your immune system a VIP upgrade.
Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on! Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your local station, WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Well, we're doing what we should be doing toward the end of February, talking hockey. Unfortunately, not really the National Hockey League because they're on break, they're on pause, because the Olympics are happening. They've been going on for the last 2 months, and finally we're getting to a point where the United States men's hockey team is going to be ready to play for a gold medal. These are the two teams that we assumed would be there, the United States and Canada. When you start asking which team is better, I think when you look at star power, obviously Canada, I think the U.S. has a little more grit. I think they have a little more depth as well. So it should be interesting to see. I wonder, will there be a fight? We've already seen Tom Wilson fight once. Will the Tchucks stir it up with Tom Wilson? So who knows? Who knows what you'll see? It should be entertaining, to say the least. But of course, here in this area, most of the concerns are on Sidney Crosby and what's actually wrong with him. If you watched the game yesterday, you did see him come up limp. He took a hit from two guys against the boards. Didn't look like much of anything. And then he couldn't put any weight on his leg. He goes down. He's on the bench. He's sitting there for a while. Goes off, doesn't come back. They rule him out of the game, and then the speculation starts. Is this the big one? Is this the one that everyone thought would happen? You're going to have a star in the NHL get injured in the Olympics, and it's going to end up costing their team a playoff berth. Well, I can tell you right now, maybe with some of those guys, it wouldn't have cost the team. If Crosby's out for an extended period of time, it will definitely cost the Penguins. They will not make the playoffs without him. That's 100% certain. You've seen it all year. And this guy's 38. We talk about him like he's in his 20s, and he's carrying this team. He's carrying this team at 38 years old. So it could be really big. We don't know enough now to speculate. All that we know is reports have come out that he doesn't need surgery, not from a doctor, just reports have come out from sources. And John Cooper, the coach of Canada, said that he's not yet ruled him out for the gold medal game. He's also not yet ruled him in, so take that with a grain of salt. But we don't know for certain what's actually wrong here. What we know is the NHL is going to get started rapid pace when the Olympics are over. The Penguins have 17 games in the next 30 days. They need Sidney Crosby, and they need to figure out where they are in this scenario. Right now, the Penguins look like a sure bet playoff team. This is where we had projected them to be. We've gone back and forth all year. There's still that chance that they won't make it. So you've got to keep that in the back of your mind as well. This is not a foregone conclusion that they're going to be in the playoffs. But when you look at them right now, when you look at their standings and where they are, they are in the driver's seat for the most part. They have 70 points. They're in second place in the Metro. They're a point ahead of the Islanders. When you start looking at where they fit in the grand scheme of things in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, they're kind of middle of the pack. You've got teams that have more points, but everybody's close. 78 is the top. That's Carolina and that's Tampa Bay. So they're not that far away. And then you start getting into the trade deadline at the end of March. They've got some time to figure it out, but where do you go? What do you do? And who's on this roster playing when they come back from the Olympics? Avery Hayes just had his second hat trick at Wilkes-Barre a couple of days ago. Do you put him back at Wilkes? Because that's what I heard. The only reason he was up was because Raquel left early. Lizotte had a kid. That's the only reason Hayes was in that lineup. The plan was he goes right back to Wilkes, but he scores on his first shot, 2 goals in his first game, a hat trick the first game he goes back to Wilkes, a hat trick just the other day. How do you keep this guy out of the lineup when you try to justify Kevin Hayes being in there? And quite honestly, I was telling people over the weekend, I think the Penguins can actually make trades at the deadline and get better. And the names I threw out, number 1, Ricard Raquel, and number 2, Anthony Mantha. I'm not talking about trading prospects to bring in veterans. I'm talking about trading veterans to bring in maybe prospects, maybe an NHL-ready guy here or there. And I think the team can actually get better than what it is now. There's a lot of old legs on this team. And 17 games in 30 days, they're going to be exposed. They need to get younger players. Even if they're just in to give guys a rest, they need to get younger players into this lineup over the next month. See what they have. If they are hot, leave them in. If they're not, you can always send them right back down. But you can't put a bunch of mid-30-year-olds out there and think they're going to sustain a stretch of games like that and have this team ready and them be ready to go and fresh for the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. Same thing with this goalie rotation. It's just not going to work. It might work up to this point, but when you get toward that tail end of the NHL season, every game is like a playoff game because most teams are still involved in the playoffs. They still have a shot to make it even down the stretch. So if you get there, it's not just that series you play when you get there. It's probably the 2 weeks prior to where every game looks like a postseason game. They can't just put all these old guys out there. They just can't. It's not going to work. And honestly, the best goalie they have is Morozov. He needs to be up sooner rather than later. Shilov's is 24. He can go back to Wilkes. Apparently, they're not real high on Blomqvist. So Shilov's can go to Wilkes and play pretty much every day. Murashov can split time with Skinner for this year just to get his feet wet, get a little bit of experience. If they're rotating, he's going to play every other day. It's not like he's going to lose a lot of time in the net. And he'll be there if you need him because honestly, he's the best they have right now. And if they are all in on the playoffs, they need to start putting their best players out there, not just this veteran loyalty that I thought left with Sullivan, but apparently remains with Muse. With that being said, are they a good team? Yeah. Are they a great team? No. Are they a team that can make noise in the playoffs? Honestly, I don't think so because they're too old and there's too many games coming up. If the Olympic break didn't happen, maybe there's a better shot at it because the games are more spread out. This is not a situation conducive to the Penguins going into the playoffs with momentum. They need to bring Bros, Hayes, Koivunen, once again, even if it's just for a game or two, put him in there, let him play, let him give somebody a break, let him give Malkin a rest, let him give Crosby a rest here and there, just to keep the legs fresh for the guys that you're going to depend on the most. This is going to be the toughest stretch for an old team, and we're going to see what they're made of here within the next month. Nick, I think they're a playoff team. I think they could miss too just as easily, but I think in the end they're going to be a playoff team. I just don't know how tired they're going to be going in and whether or not they're going to be able to win a series.
Yeah, it's going to be tough with Sid if he's out for an extended period of time. And, really, for as good as he is, he's awesome, one of the best guys ever. Why are they still relying on a 38-year-old to carry the team? I mean, they should be able to survive without him for a stretch. But, yeah, I mean, they had a great, well, I don't know if the start to the season was great, but they've had some streaks where they looked really good, and they're in prime position in the Metro. But, yeah, if he's out for a while, it's certainly going to be tough to, salvage wins or to salvage that time that he's not out there if they lose games, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious.
And honestly, I think they could trade a Raquel. I think they could trade a Mantha. I think they could trade a Kulak. Yeah. I don't think they lose much.
Yeah, Dubas can make moves.
You still have guys that can go and play. I think if you take Raquel and Mantha, everybody says, well, those are two top 6 guys. Who could play top 6? I don't know. Ben Kendall? You think he can play top 6? I mean, there are guys that you can put up there that I think will be just fine, that I think are maybe out of the role they should be in right now because you have these guys. And they're not really, Mantha I think is overproduced, which is why I think you could get something decent for him, better than what they thought they were going to get when they brought him in as a rental. And I think Raquel, they missed the boat last year. He should have been traded at last year's trade deadline. He's contributing next to nothing to this team. He's contributed next to nothing to Sweden throughout the entire Olympics. I don't know what you can get, maybe just off of name value alone, but I think by doing that, you can maybe bring in another NHL player, maybe a younger NHL player, and you can start to infuse some of these younger players into more important roles. Are they going to win the Stanley Cup if they put Kindle on the second line? Probably not. Are they going to win the Stanley Cup with Raquel on the second line? No. You're not really having much of a difference. I think they can make the playoffs with or without a couple of these guys. I'd rather see them make them with. Give these guys some playoff experience in significant roles, see what they have, because if you're building for the future, this is the future. Let them get some time now and see what happens. Let Murashov play some games in the postseason. Let these younger guys play some games in the postseason. Instead of calling people up and not even dressing them like they've done to guys like Tristan Brose and almost done to Avery Hayes had they not needed to use him. They had that Harvey Pinard up. They never dressed him. Let them actually play, because a lot of these guys that you claim you're counting on for the playoffs, they're going to need a rest somewhere along the way. If you don't give it to them, you're going to have the same finish that you had the last several years under Mike Sullivan, who refused to give these guys a rest as well. By the way, he's doing real well. The Rangers are one of the worst teams in hockey, still trying to play his style there because of his stubbornness, although they don't have the caliber to do that. And now we hear Vinny Trocheck might be traded as well. So the fire sale happening in New York, JT Miller, unfortunately, might be the guy that's stuck there when it's all said and done. That is all the time we have for the first hour of the Sports Voice. Don't go anywhere. I'm sure you've been waiting for me to talk Pirates, and I've got quite a bit to say. We'll lead off with them in the second hour. Don't go away.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Franco's Golf Center is open during the winter months, Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., closed Monday. With 2 state-of-the-art simulators, Franco's is your destination for indoor golf. The full-line Pro Shop is also open for your shopping convenience, with gift certificates available. The outdoor range is also open year-round, weather permitting. Call 724-438-6651 to reserve your indoor golf tee times. Franco's is located on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Stop and see them today.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS Uniontown. Right now, CBS News. Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is released from police custody nearly 12 hours after his arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. This Londoner's reaction?
However he gets what he deserves. If it's life in jail, then it's life in jail. If it's exile, then it's exile.
CBS's Vicky Barker.
Ailsa Anderson served as a press secretary to the late Queen Elizabeth.
I'm quite glad that I'm not working at Buckingham Palace today.
She's seen the photo of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor leaving a Norfolk police station.
He looked dazed, he looked shell-shocked, he was slouching down, and this image, I think, will just remind people of his extraordinary fall from grace.
With potentially farther to fall, the police have not given up their investigation into allegations of misconduct in public office. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
New Mexico's Attorney General reopens the investigation into allegations of illegal activity at Epstein's former Zorro Ranch 30 miles south of Santa Fe. The USA's Alyssa Liu wins the gold in her free skate program. And speaking of the Olympics, the U.S. wins a third Olympic gold in women's hockey, beating Canada 2-1. CBS's Kelly O'Grady in Milan.
Sudden death overtime. The U.S. women were able to pull it out. They cheered, they screamed, the crowd went wild, and Free Bird played. Free Bird, of course, being the song that plays whenever a U.S. hockey team at this Olympics scores a goal.
President Trump sends a second aircraft carrier group to the Middle East region in a show of force against Iran. He says the two countries are going to get a nuclear deal, quote, one way or the other.
We do have some work to do with Iran. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You can't have peace in the Middle East if they have a nuclear weapon.
Democrats announced their pick to deliver their response to President Trump's State of the Union address next week.
Governor Spanberger is Virginia's first female governor. She was elected after serving 3 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. The governor campaigned on issues including affordability, something the president has labeled as a Democrat hoax. The president is widely expected to focus on the economy during his State of the Union address and to spell out steps he says he has taken to lower costs. Spanberger is expected to discuss how prices remain too high for average Americans, with affordability remaining out of reach. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Housing advocates warn that the proposed Trump administration rule limiting public housing to mostly citizens could lead to evictions.
The National Housing Law Project says it defeated this unlawful proposal during President Trump's first term and says we're ready to fight back with our allies and do it again. HUD Secretary Scott Turner says the days of illegal aliens, ineligibles, and fraudsters gaming the system are over.
This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Take the fact. Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
You want to make your ride shine like new? Then take it to Jaybirds Detailing in Vanderbilt. Whether it's winter salt or everyday mess, Jaybirds brings your vehicle back to life, inside and out. They offer hand washes, waxes, full interior deep cleans, stain removal, and showroom quality finishes. Cars, trucks, SUVs, there's no job too big or too small. Call 724-322-8196 to schedule your appointment today. Jaybirds Detailing in Vanderbilt, because a clean car doesn't just look better, it feels better.
When a man stole an ambulance with a patient in the back in Wisconsin. More from CBS's Michael Wallace.
2 paramedics were tending to a patient in the back of their parked ambulance when Benjamin Feltz hopped into the driver's seat. The
The paramedics tried to stop him, but eventually hopped out. Wisconsin Rapids Police Chief Daniel Hostens.
You hear that come over the radio, that someone has stolen an ambulance, and your first thought is, how does that happen?
The 18-mile chase ended when the ambulance got stuck in a muddy field.
Hands up! Hands up!
The patient in the back was not injured. Feltz faces auto theft and disorderly conduct charges. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
U.S. stocks fell as AI fears keep rumbling and oil prices climb. The company behind Booking.com and Priceline sank to one of the market's sharper losses as worries continue about whether AI competitors could steal away its customers. Oil prices rose with worries about a potential U.S.-Iran conflict. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
Good afternoon, your local station, WMBS 505, and outside of our Davis & Davis studios, we're looking at, let's check that temperature, 51 degrees under cloudy skies, but we are under a flood watch through tomorrow at 1 with some heavy rain expected overnight and a Friday. More on the weather watch and sports in a bit. Members of a local labor union made their voices heard at today's Fayette County Commissioners meeting. Many members of the Fayette County chapter of the Service Employees International Union, SEIU 668, were in attendance at Thursday's Fayette County Commissioners meeting. After holding an informational picket in Uniontown this month, Chapter President Steve Katniss spoke during public comment at the meeting, addressing issues facing SEIU members in Fayette County. He says they are seeking better wages and affordable health care, and that the 1% raise proposed by the commissioners is not enough. The union has said that county officials have given themselves a 3% increase and a 2% raise to non-union workers. Katniss added that union members in Fayette have been negotiating a contract for over 8 months now with little progress. Katniss spoke to WMBS after the meeting.
The fact that 1% raises with health care increases are being offered 2026. I don't know what they're trying to do to the workers here, but as I mentioned during public comment, they're posting job positions for people within our union that start at $12.96 an hour. So imagine trying to attract someone into this position, only being guaranteed that 1% with the health care increases on top. They have come up. They're around 2% right now, but again, 2% is bad enough on its own.
Commissioner Scott Dunn on the negotiations with SEIU.
We are continuing negotiations. I don't intend to negotiate in public in a forum like this. The 1% that their person said that we had offered, that was an initial offer. Doubtfully, it has been increased since then. We met with our labor attorney yesterday. They will be in touch. We believe we are negotiating in good faith, and we will continue to do so.
Another business commissioners done along with Commissioners Vince Facides and Harry Kaufman agreed to give raises from $50 to $100 a day to members of the county zoning hearing board.
They're putting in a lot of work these days, specifically with what happened with the solar, all the solar ordinances, or all the solar requests. So they're putting in a lot of work, and it's getting hard to get people, so we got to pay them.
They also approved a lease agreement with the United States Postal Service for the Peters Street office in Uniontown for an additional 5 years.
We've had one for many years in that building. That gives us a little revenue that helps the county every year. I think it comes to several $1,000s a year we get from them to lease that space, and we're just extending that for at least another 5 years. We had probably several years left on our current contract.
The county will also exonerate real estate taxes on a property in Manellen Township on Old Route 51 in Waltersburg. The property was acquired through the conservatorship program, which is attempting to fix blight. It'll be returned to the tax rolls under new ownership. And also, the Cook family farm in Belle Vernon, Ross River Township was recognized by the Fayette County Commissioners at the beginning of the meeting as they're celebrating their 250th birthday and anniversary, just like the United States of America in Fayette County, as that farm began operation in 1776. Nick Barczyk, WMBS. More next on WMPS.
Is that a bird I hear?
I think it's almost spring. We have to get the junk out of the garage. I need a shed. But a cool shed, yeah. Maybe a she shed or an office shed.
I know just the place where you can find the perfect shed. It's Ultimate Structures on Route 51 in Perry Township.
Well, I need to see them for myself. I don't want to go downtown to the home show.
See large and small sheds, office sheds, animal shelters, recreational cabins, garages. It's unbelievable. Right in Bell Vernon. Visit the Mega Lot at Ultimate Structures. There's no need to run to Pittsburgh. Order right now and you'll get our 12% spring discount on all new shed orders.
I'm Googling Ultimate Structures Bell Vernon. Okay, they're just outside Perryopolis. There's a website and a Facebook page, plus that 12% discount right now.
Ultimate Structures is the only independent dealer representing JDM Structures in Pennsylvania. Stop in. We design what you desire.
In sports, we have high school basketball. Girls won a quarterfinal playoff matchup tonight. St. Joseph at Geibel. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame 6:10, game at 7, radio and video on YouTube on WMBS. Now, the weather watch. Right now, we have a flood watch that runs through 1 p.m. tomorrow with rain expected overnight. 51 right now, overnight low at 45, up to 63 tomorrow. Right now, 5:10. Good afternoon. I'm Nick Barczyk.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
Once again, we have some heavy rain expected in the region overnight with that flood watch running through tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's in effect right now, but we're dry outside of our Davis & Davis studios at 51 degrees. And now out to Italy for another Winter Olympics update. This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Pento Home Care of Uniontown. When you want award-winning personalized home care for your loved ones, call Pento Home Care at 724-322-8192.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. Gold for Team USA in women's hockey thanks to a 2-1 overtime win over Canada. Megan Keller scored the game winner after Captain Hillary Knight tied things up with 2 minutes left in regulation with the extra skater. Third gold in women's hockey to go along with 1998 and 2019. Also gold for the U.S. in women's figure skating. Alyssa Liu claiming the gold after the free skate, which just wrapped up. First time the U.S. has won gold in this event since Sarah Hughes back in 2002. Alyssa Liu gets the gold. Fellow American Amber Glenn finishing in fifth. American speed skater Jordan Stoll is adding a silver medal in the 1,500 meters to his gold in the 500 and 1,000 meters. And the U.S. women's curling team on to the semifinals. They will take on Switzerland tomorrow. With this Winter Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Pento Home Care Agency cares about you, your health, and what's best for your family. Pento Home Care is a family-owned and operated home care agency providing the convenience of personal care within your home. They'll work with your family and physicians to come up with the best plan of care for you. Pento offers personal assistance services and accepts all state waiver programs, private insurance, and private pay patients. Pento Home Care Agency has home health care available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their experienced team of professionals provide expert care. Pento offers hospice care because they know how difficult and overwhelming a terminal illness can be by helping families through the challenging days with dignity and compassion. If you or a loved one need care or are looking for a career as a home health aide, please call them at 724-322-1683 or visit them online at pentohomecareagency.com.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Pento Home Care, offering a full line of award-winning care and at-home services to help your family member in need with their daily living needs. Call Pento today at 724-322-8192.
Good evening. This is Angie Danko of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 267.5 points, closing at 49,395. The Nasdaq Composite was down 70.9 points, closing at 22,683. And the S&P 500 Index was down 19.4 points, closing at 6,862. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $260.58, down $3.77. Amazon, $204.86, up 7 cents. Cisco, $78.56, up 38 cents. Boeing, $233.71, down $5.22. Caterpillar, $760.47, up $8.50. Disney closed at $106.01, down $1.09. ExxonMobil, $150.95, up 27 cents. First Energy, $49.55, up 61 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $246.90, up $1.91. Home Depot, $378.52, down $5. Intel, $44.62, down 84 cents. McDonald's closed at $327.06, down 83 cents. Meta Platforms, $644.78, up $1.56. PNC Financial Services, $230.31, down $2.43. Raytheon Technologies, $205.20, up 39 cents. Rockwell Automation, $395.31, down $1.15. Tesla, $411.71, up 39 cents. Verizon, $48.62, up 57 cents. And Walmart closed at $124.87, down $1.75. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 267.5 points, closing at 49,395. The Nasdaq Composite was down 70.9 points, closing at 22,683. And the S&P 500 Index was down 19.4 points, closing at 6,862. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs, this is Angie Down.
There's only one best lunch spot in Uniontown. Titlow Tavern and Grill on West Main Street, serving 8-ounce Reubens, foot-long cheesesteaks and subs, half-pound handmade burgers, plus pizza, calzones, strombolis, pepperoni rolls, and fresh salads like Greek, antipasto, salmon, steak, and chicken. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday till 10, Saturday 2 to 10. Dinner and happy hour specials nightly, and private parties are welcome. Call 724-437-6749. Tedlow Tavern and Grill.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Voice. Ahead on this hour, it's baseball season. Well, it will be in 2 days. Yeah, the Pirates play their first preseason game on Saturday. For those of you that have been wishing for warmer weather, I know we might get a little bit of snow over the weekend, but I think what we've gotten this last week, and there's still snow everywhere, 50s, rain, and we still see these huge piles of snow out there. So I think people are just desperate to start thinking about spring and something warm. And, we're going to be turning the calendar to March here in a couple of weeks. So Pirate baseball normally gets people in that mood, gets them excited about warmer temperatures. I don't think it gets them excited about baseball usually, but maybe this year it will. I'm listening to some of the other shows around the area with their predictions of how many wins they think the Pirates are going to have. I'm hearing in the 90s. They're going to win a round of the playoffs. That'd be great if it happened. I don't count on that happening because I think there are things that they have to do that they still won't do that will prevent them from making that into a reality. But at least there's a little bit of buzz around them. Normally, there isn't. Like, normally you go in, they've signed some guys off the scrap heap like a week ago, just in time to get down to Bradenton. You've got all the same old, these young stars that aren't young anymore, and they're not stars, that the Pirates are still holding out hope that someday they're going to figure it out and they're going to be a legit baseball player, and it just doesn't happen. And they still have a few of those guys. Some will be in the starting lineup. For everybody who thinks the lineup has improved by leaps and bounds at this point. But in the end, the Pirates have a couple of opportunities here to really take this and run with it, and I don't think they'll grasp any of the opportunities that are out there. The first one being Connor Griffin. And I said at the beginning of the show, I'll say it again, I do give the local Hack Media credit. I normally don't, because they're normally in the back pocket, bought and paid for by whatever team their station covers. They say whatever they're told. But in this particular case, they seem very excited about Connor Griffin. And maybe they think the Pirates want them to be excited about Connor Griffin. But if you know Bob Nutting and you know the financial situation for that team, I can assure you the last guy they want you to be excited about is Griffin. Oh, they want you to be excited about him for the future. They want you to see signs out of him so that you can say, hey, whenever we get rid of insert player's name here, we've got Connor Griffin waiting in the wings. But the reality is that's where they want Griffin. They want him waiting in the wings. Connor Griffin is 19 years old. He'll be 19 until the end of April. The last place they want him is on the Major League roster because as soon as he ends up there, the clock starts ticking for the years of protection and arbitration that the Pirates have with him. Because the control in Major League Baseball, I think, is way more than it should be, but it's not infinite. And that's what the Pirates want it. They want it to be infinite. They want to have this control forever. They want it to be like it was back in the 40s and 50s, where they could acquire a Roberto Clemente, and no matter how bad he wanted out, he was stuck as a Pirate because there was no free agency or anything like that that could allow you to take your act on the road. So with Griffin, the last thing they want is him on this opening day roster. And the last thing they want the media to do is project him to be on the opening day roster. That's why they had the smoke screens. Now, you look at the smoke screens and you think, oh, these are legit major league players. Maybe there was a time when they were. That time certainly isn't now. When you look at what they've done, they bring in Ryan O'Hearn, who I've made fun of quite a bit since they brought him in, calling him Dave Kingman and Rob Deere, because that's what he is. He's a guy that could potentially hit 30 home runs, potentially the key word in that sentence, but realistically is going to strike out 200 plus times. They'll put him out there somewhere, probably in left field, and really all that he's doing is taking the place of Tommy Pham. Is he an upgrade over Tommy Pham? Probably. Is he a legitimate upgrade over Tommy Pham? Probably not. But that's what he's there for. He's there to take the place of Pham, who was in the opening day lineup last year. Then you look at the trade they made for Brandon Lowe. Good trade on the surface if they're planning on keeping this guy around, but we all know that they're not. He's a rental player who's a free agent at the end of the year. They've made no effort to extend that contract or to sign him to anything, and there's a real good chance if the season goes south early, he could be traded at the deadline in July. So what is Brandon Lowe really on this team? He's the replacement for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Is he an upgrade over Falefa? Yeah. But there's no long-term anything associated with Lowe. At least they gave O'Hearn a 2-year deal. They didn't give Lowe anything. He's going to play off what's left on his contract that they inherited from Tampa Bay. Then there's Marcell Ozuna, who, by the way, is well beyond his prime, but everyone's convinced he's going to be big. He's the replacement for McCutchen. Is he better than McCutchen? Probably at this stage in his career. Is he significantly better? I don't think so. When you look at McCutchen's numbers from last year, they weren't all that bad, and they weren't all that worse than Ozuna's, who only hit 21 home runs and didn't hit 250 for Atlanta. So that's what you've added. But everything else has stayed the same. You've added replacements. You've not added additions. So when you start going around, remember they traded Ke'Bryan Hayes at the deadline last year and put Jared Triolo in at third base. Jared Triolo is still at third base. Nick Gonzalez is going to play shortstop. Henry Davis is probably still going to catch unless Flores or Rodriguez or Bart, but it's the same guy. You're not getting an upgrade over any of those others that you're going to put into that position. Brian Reynolds, I'm assuming, is going to play right because he won't play the other positions, which means O'Neill Cruz back in center again. He's still there. This would have been, I think, a prime opportunity to move off from him, but he's cheap, and they still want to make it look like, oh, he might still be able to figure out baseball. Hey, we brought Marcell Ozuna in to be his mentor. He's 27 and has been with this team since 21. What does he need? He should have had the mentor 5 years ago when they called him up then, if they were so worried about mentoring him. At this point, it's lost. It's done. Like, there's nothing coming from O'Neill Cruz. He's had his opportunity. He's past his peak at this point that never really surfaced. That's it. So then you look at the pitching and you say, well, this is their strength. Is it? I mean, Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball, don't get me wrong. Talk about something they need to do with Paul Skeens. How about let him pitch a little longer into games? Because those middle relievers that you get on the cheap or off of waivers that have to come in these important games are the reason why Skeens won a Cy Young being 10-10. Skeens could have easily had 20 wins last year had they let him pitch into the 6th or 7th or 8th inning. But of course they don't do that because they're saving his arm for the Yankees or Dodgers, wherever he's going to end up once arbitration kicks in. And it's not even going to be once protection's done. It's going to be once arbitration kicks in, because if Skubal got 32, Skeens is going to get 40, and there is no way the Pirates are going to pay him $40 million. He will be traded that season, next year if they play, or the year after, as soon as arbitration kicks in. Beyond Skeens, what do you have? You have Mitch Keller, who's great in the first half and horrible in the second half. That's been the MO for him. You've got Bubba Chandler, who can go out there and pitch a shutout one day and get lit up the next day because he's young and has about 30 innings of work in Major League Baseball. So it's not like he's got a ton of experience to bring to the table. Hunter Barco, who they buried until he turned 25, and now they're threatening to bury him again for some reason. Ashcraft, who they also buried in the minors forever. Majinski, who was pitching out of the bullpen when he came up. Urquidy from Houston, who was 13-11 last year, and Houston parted ways with him. I mean, there's your rotation. Does that sound like a champion NLCS contending rotation? And then you go into the bullpen, you got all waiver guys. Santana was picked up off waivers. Matson was picked up off waivers. You've got Lawrence there. You've got Soto, who you acquired in free agency this year. They're one of their bigger free agent acquisitions. I mean, that's what's there. It's not, I don't think, overwhelmingly better. It's better, but when these guys are sitting there saying, oh, they're going to win 94, 95 games, with what I just told you, they'll win maybe 76 instead of the 70 that they won last year. Now, that's without Connor Griffin. You bring Connor Griffin into the mix, now you might have something. Now you might get me thinking about something in the 80s and potential playoffs. But they won't do it, and we know why. Because they don't want the clock to tick. They don't even want it to start ticking in June. If they had their way, they would say, hey, he got to Altoona last year. We'll start him in Altoona, get him some at-bats, move him up to Indianapolis, and then next year when he's 20, we'll get him on the Major League roster. He'll only be 20. We don't ever put guys who are 20 on the Major League roster, and for them, they're right. They don't. So this would be huge for them and still save face. But the reality is the rest of Major League Baseball and the fan base and even the media realize this guy's a diamond in the rough. Like, you're looking at some of the stuff that he's doing down there now. Look at how he tore through 3 levels of minor league baseball last year. This guy's probably the real deal. Well, as close to the real deal as the Pirates are going to get offensively. How you can justify trying to win and keeping him in the minors at the same time will absolutely blow my mind. But they'll try, and part of the fan base they'll buy it. They'll say, he's only 19. Get him a few more bats in minor leagues. Okay, what if he hits double-digit home runs in spring training? Are you still going to try to convince yourself that he needs more bats in minor league baseball? Paul Skeens has already given his endorsement. Skeens has said, this guy's ready. If I'm listening to anyone, I'm listening to Paul Skeens. Griffin's ready, and the best chance the Pirates have to win this year is with him on the roster. Guaranteed when they break camp, he will not be there. And Nick, this is why, no matter how excited people want to get about the Pirates, this is why they will always disappoint you, because they'll never do what it takes to actually win. Are we happy that they signed Ozuna and Lau? They got in a trade, and Urquidy and O'Hearn? Honestly, if you want to get me excited, then actually go out and sign Schwarber, or sign Tucker, or sign these guys you're trying so hard to convince everybody you were so close. Sign one of them, and then maybe I'll buy that you're trying to win. But with what you brought in as compared to what you could have brought in, and the fact that you're probably going to leave Connor Griffin on the minor league roster for at least a few months to start the season, that tells me that you want to talk the big game about how you want to win, but when it comes time to actually do what it takes, you just won't do it.
Yeah, Dave, they don't need Connor Griffin because they have Ozuna, Hearn, and Lau, O'Hearn, whatever. They added all those home runs, and they did add almost 70 home runs. We don't know if they're going to replicate that, but yeah, Griffin seems to be the real deal, or the closest they will get to the real deal in that offense. And Paul Skeens, you can tell he's desperate. He's desperate for help. And if I were him, I'd barge into Don Kelly's office and Ben Cherington's office and say, look, make this happen. And
I don't think they're the ones stopping it from happening.
It's ownership. It's Mr. Nutting. So barge into his office if he has that authority. And the face of the Pittsburgh Pirates right now is Paul Skeens, and there's not a close second. And he's desperate for offensive help. And frankly, I'm not sure you're right. He has much pitching help. He's carrying the offense, the defense, and the special teams, to use a football reference. But
can he catch on off days? Because he was a catcher in high school.
Maybe. Well, can he catch himself? Is he that talented? He can catch the balls he throws.
If anybody could do it, I'd bet on him.
And can he hit better than the catching they have now? The Joey Bart runs into a home run every now and then, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you look at this lineup and you want to be optimistic, and you said off the air 76. Is that your official prediction? We still have another month and a half to go, but that's only
it depends. I'll wait till they break camp and see where Griffin is before I make my final prediction.
On the roster. Yeah, so we have time. The exhibition games haven't even started. They start this weekend, so it's a month build up to that. And yeah, we have another 5 weeks before the regular season starts. And if they're only going to be 5 games better, then maybe people are talking 85, 90 wins, but if you don't see it, you don't see it, and I don't necessarily do either. I want them to win, obviously, but I'm not sure how much the additions they brought in are going to help.
I just don't see it. I mean, there are ways that they can get to that number. They're not going to use those ways. They're going to do it their way on the cheap and hope that these guys who are past their prime, they're all past their prime.
And will the guys on last year's roster that are on this year's, will they get better? They're all going to be older. Do we think Brian Reynolds will be better this year?
Reynolds said he spent a lot of time this offseason working on fixing his swing. This is about the 3rd time he's done that in his career.
Well, he has to be beat down by this organization. He's been there so long. Will O'Neal Cruz be better? Will any of will Nick Gonzalez be better? I mean, count on it. I don't necessarily.
Even if they are, how much better can they be? And will it be good enough to take them to 85 wins?
Of course it will. All those home runs they added. They have a great defender in Triolo out there. He's going to hit 150. No, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing nobody really wants to talk about, but I think it needs to be talked about. We know potentially with the CBA expiring at the end of this year, there could be a strike. Mm-hmm. And that strike could go on because if the ownership is going to push for a salary cap, then this could be an extended strike, which could wipe out all of next year. Regardless of how it turns out, what nobody wants to say is this realistically could be the last year Paul Skeens is in a Pirate uniform. Because when arbitration rolls out, they're not going to pay him $40 million. Not even for a year of arbitration, knowing that there's going to be another arbitration the next year, and he's probably going to make more. In 2 years, he's the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young winner in the National League. I can only imagine what he's going to do now. He started both All-Star games. He's going to be the number 1 pitcher for Team USA in this World Baseball Classic. I mean, he's becoming the face of baseball. And Major League Baseball hates the fact that he's on the Pirates because they're so bad they don't ever get into anything important that Major League Baseball is trying to showcase. Outside of the All-Star game in this World Baseball Classic, where else are you going to see Paul Skeens? You're not going to see him in the playoffs. You're not going to see him in the World Series. MLB has to hate that he's a Pirate. They have to just be oblivious to the fact that we need to figure out a way to get these guys off of these teams faster that aren't trying to win. And the Pirates don't even try. And they're not even shy about it. It's not like they pretend like they're trying. They don't even pretend to try. They just want to make money. That's all it's about, that bottom line. And poor Paul Skeens is saddled with them because they happened to get the first pick in the draft again, and it just had to be the year that he was picked. So he's stuck in an organization that not only is going nowhere, but doesn't care that they're not going anywhere. Like, I make fun of the Steelers all the time, and I don't like the way they do things, but at least in their mind, they're trying to win. The Pirates aren't even trying to do that. There's a plan in place for the Pirates. It's not to win baseball games. It's to make as much money as possible, spending as little as you have to do it. And unfortunately for the fan base and for a guy like Paul Skeens, who's ultra competitive and wants to win, it just isn't going to happen. If Griffin's on this roster, then maybe they'll convince me they're actually trying. But like you said, I know, everybody really knows he's not going to be there. No matter what he does, He's not going to be there. And how they're going to justify that, how they're going to walk that back, probably is going to be, well, we've never had a 20-year-old up here. Like, they wait till they're 21, 22. If you draft them out of college, they're 21 or 22 by the time they're up here. That's going to be their way to talk around it. But I do like the fact that nobody's letting them forget he's there. Like, I know, and I would bet anything on these guys are smoke screens to quit talking about him so that they can justify putting him down in the minors and still convince everybody they have a team ready to win. But the only way this team is ready to win significant games is if he's on it. And I don't even know calling him up in June if it's going to matter. I don't think they even want to do that. I don't think they want him here at all. Next year he'll be 20, turning 21. That's when they wanted him to be up here anyways. He's elevated himself well beyond what their expectations were. I don't think they thought he was this good when they drafted him, but he showed that he is. And the organization is absolutely foolish if they don't allow him to play at the major league level, especially after the bad rap this organization has gotten from the nothingness, hodgepodge of nothingness from Dennis Eckersley to the way Major League Baseball just despises the fact that they can't market Skeens for anything because the Pirates aren't in anything significant because they have such a bad team around him. They can't even market a second player on that team to justify putting him in the Field of Dreams or, something like that. Something has to give here because honestly, I believe this is the last year you're going to see Skeens as a Pirate.
Oh, absolutely. And they're trying to market him. NBC has the opening day game. He'll be pitching that against the Mets. I saw that. But yeah, you can put him in the Cornfield game or the game at Bristol Motor Speedway. They're not making the playoffs. He's never playing in a World Series game as a Pirate. Maybe the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees. But yeah, they want this organization to be better because why not? Pittsburgh's a passionate sports city with a great, beautiful ballpark and the best pitcher in baseball. And last year they won 71 games. And you think even with a much better manager and another year of Skeens and maybe Griffin, they're only going to win 5 more games. So more needs to be done. And yes, be excited about Ozuna and Lau, maybe even O'Hearn, but don't be that excited because, I don't know if that's enough or if they're going to replicate what they did. I mean, that's a combined 70 home runs they brought in, but how good is the rest of the lineup? How good is the rest of that rotation behind Skeens and the bullpen as well? An issue. So
they play the Orioles on Saturday, who don't have any money either, but they've got Tally Rushman, they've got Henderson,
Gunnar,
and they went out in the offseason and signed Pete Alonso.
That's right,
a guy that the Pirates talked about. We were close on this or close on that. You lost out to the Orioles. Just like the Japanese guy that you coveted, you lost out to the Blue Jays. Like, you're not losing out to the Dodgers and the Yankees on these guys. You're losing out to other small market teams. That tells me you're not really all in. You didn't want to give Alonso a 3-4 year contract, but yet there's going to be more coming from him this year than any of the guys that they brought in. If they'd have brought in Alonso, maybe I'd be sitting here saying something a little bit different. If they'd have brought in Schwarber, if they'd have brought in Tucker, if they'd have brought in one of the top tier guys that they claim every year they're trying to get, and they're so close, but they don't get any of them.
Well, here's the funny thing, Dave. They always talk about, we can't bring that guy up. He's too young. He's too young. Connor Griffin's too young. He's 19. And then with Alonso, you know what they'll say? He's too old. He's 31. Right. We can't sign him at 3 years. He's too old.
Or what they said about Machado. We can't bring him in because he makes more than the whole team combined.
Yeah, so
and there'll be animosity toward him.
Exactly. That's ridiculous.
Then pay everybody a little bit more then if you think that they're worth more than what you're giving them.
Yeah, this guy's too young. This guy's too old. Is anyone just right? Not if they require money to be spent on.
Yeah, you know who's just right? Jared Triolo. Because he doesn't do much. He doesn't make much. That's exactly what they want.
He's a great defender, and that's fine. Be a great defender, but we need runs. We need offense too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if he gets that torpedo bat, maybe that'll help him. Same thing with Gonzalez. Like, I think Gonzalez, there's potential to be maybe even a 300 hitter, but he's always hurt.
Yeah.
He can't stay healthy. And then Davis, I mean, they've not fixed him never should have drafted him in the first place. He was not the best player in that draft. But they thought they needed a catcher at the time, so they draft him. Then they move him from catcher. Then they bring him back to catcher. It's just nothing consistent. Like, you're looking shortstop, third base, catcher. I think first and second will be okay. Horowitz has no power, but he'll probably hit about 280, 270. Lau will be okay. O'Hearn will be out in probably left. And you got Cruz in center, who's a liability. Hope they don't hit one to center. And then Reynolds, he's just jogging around most of the time. Maybe he'll think the team's going to be better and try a little harder. And then Ozuna is DH. It just doesn't stand out to me. That's not a playoff lineup. It just isn't. Are the guys they brought in better than the guys they got rid of? Yes, but there are no additions. All these are replacements. You have other guys that needed to be replaced that you didn't replace that are still there. And, if Griffin comes and plays short and they move Gonzalez to third, all right, you've upgraded now. Now I see a legit upgrade. Triolo's your utility guy off the bench. You can bring him in whenever, late innings for his great defense. Now I'm seeing something. And then maybe I start looking at the outfield and say, well, if Ozuna can mentor Cruz like they're saying, and he can hit 30 home runs too, now you're talking. But I think without Griffin, that's just too many holes in that lineup that you just don't have solutions for. And to me, I just because of Donnie Kelly, they'll be better than last year. There were times we sat here and said, Kelly's 500. That's how many games under 500 Shelton was before he got canned. They'll be better, but not significantly better. What the organization needs to do, they won't do. And, I talked to Nick off air. The other two guys they got from Tampa are intriguing to me. I think Mason Montgomery, if he can find his way into the rotation, he's got great stuff. He's always had great stuff. He can't consistently throw strikes. Maybe A.J. Burnett's going to be down there for a few days.
What's his role? He's not the pitching coach exactly.
I don't know what his role is, but if he can help these guys.
He's not going to be there in the regular season, just spring training.
As of now, no.
Ugh.
But if you can fix Montgomery and you got a legit 5 starter, okay. Jake Mangum's interesting to me.
Yeah.
There's potential there to not only hit for power, but also hit for average. I just think he's never really gotten a chance to shine because there's always been somebody in front of him. Unfortunately, that's going to be O'Neill Cruz here. But depending on how you work it, you get him some at-bats, maybe, just maybe, they could have found a couple diamonds in the rough there. So Griffin needs to be there for me to start talking 80s. Until he's there, I'm in the 70s with wins. More than 70, but not more than 80.
The 2026 Pittsburgh Pirates, poor Paul Skeens. Those are the 3 words I'll use all year.
Yeah, he'll really be begging for help.
Show me something else, yeah.
Especially if these guys don't work out. He'll really be begging this year.
Tarek Skubal, heck of a pitcher, best lefty in the game. He has a good major league lineup around him. That's why they were in the playoffs
Getting
last year.
better because they have good young talent. McGonigal should be up.
Got to Game 5 of an LDS. Pirates aren't sniffing Game 5 of an LDS.
No.
They can't even win more than they lose.
No. And they did it with sort of fillers. Wait till Max Clark is up there. They've got some good young talent in the minors.
Lineup.
And Jackson Jobe was hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
Wait till he comes back. So, you start looking at a team like the Tigers, they're doing it the right way.
And Detroit's not New York or L.A. That's not a big market.
No, they got the same amount of money the Pirates have.
The population's gone down in Detroit for 30 years.
Yeah. The Royals have done it. They've had their times. Yeah. The Marlins have had their Series. The Marlins are going to be decent too. Don't sleep on them.
Dave, they've won 2 World Series since the Pirates last won a division, the Marlins.
That
is inexcusable, and their fans care way less than the Pirates fans do.
Your second favorite team, Tampa.
I love
their
the
fans don't care at all.
No.
And look what they've done. They've managed to
put
good teams together.
They've been to a World Series. Pirates World Series was that wild card game. And don't get me started on the McCutcheon stuff. That's a whole other kettle of fish.
Right, but they did bring him back, and that's all well and good, but now they don't need him, and he doesn't want to go. And I can see why, because he's going to say, well, the team's terrible. Why not just keep me around?
Chirping with the team on social media. It's just, I love the guy, but enough already.
I still think a lot of that springs back to the first time they parted ways with him.
Right.
But he could have come back, and he wanted more money, so, I get it. He was in his prime, but
and he went chasing a ring and he didn't get it.
Never got it. Right.
No.
But he had his moment to shine in the postseason.
Didn't do it.
And didn't do anything. And I'm a McCutcheon fan, but he didn't do anything. So
no. And nobody else was hitting Arrieta or Bumgarner, but if you're the best player on that team, you should have done something.
It's hard to justify sticking around if you're not making a difference when it matters the most.
Right.
So, but yet O'Neill Cruz is still there, and he certainly doesn't make a difference when it matters the most.
No,
we'll see what happens. Yes, we'll see. Once he gets mentored, it could be totally different. There's a lot I'd change on this team, but the Pirates aren't going to do it. So we'll see what happens. But hey, baseball, Saturday, Orioles, Pirates. at wherever Baltimore plays, I'm guessing. So I do miss those days of Manatee Community College.
Oh, that
though,
was
so,
great.
Yeah,
And the game's going to be on the radio. Baseball's back on the radio.
Are we doing it here?
Yeah, we're here's what you'll love. We're knocking Pitt basketball to the Pirates spring training game. What a tough look for Pitt.
Wow. There you go. That's all you need to know. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will wrap up the show. We'll talk a little basketball. The Daytona 500 was Sunday. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then Nick will do his Olympic experience, whatever he saw when he was over in Milan. So we'll let him get into that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
The best pizza in town is at Little E's Al Altre, Uniontown's newest restaurant with all the organic crust, classic or gluten-free, all organic sauces, all natural meats and toppings, and a variety of specialty pizzas, including vegan options. More than pizza, Little E's has hearty homemade soups, appetizers, calzones, and strombolis, plus a variety of salads with vegan and gluten-free options. Open Wednesday and Thursday 11 to 9, Friday and Saturday until 9:30. Phone 724-880-6012 or stop in Little E's 7 West South Street across from a parking garage.
Franco's Golf Center is open during the winter months, Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., closed Monday. With 2 state-of-the-art simulators, Franco's is your destination for indoor golf. The Full Line Pro Shop is also open for your shopping convenience with gift certificates available. The outdoor range is also open year-round, weather permitting. Call 724-438-6651 to reserve your indoor golf tee times. Franco's is located on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Stop and see them today.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Now, you don't have to travel too far for medical marijuana products. Go to Local Leaf in Scottdale for a wide variety of locally grown and locally sourced products, plus your questions answered on medical marijuana, qualifying medical conditions, or how to register for your medical card. Local Leaf by PHG off Route 119 in Scottdale, 412-417-4964. Online at localleafpa.com. Local Leaf, your medical marijuana dispensary with locally grown and locally sourced products in Scottdale.
Fallen in love with a house? Head over heels for a home plan? Take the plunge. Apply for a mortgage loan with First Federal Savings and Loan of Greene County. Feeling commitment shy? Complete a mortgage pre-qualification. It's simple. 100% online and you'll get a personalized answer within 1 business day. Then save the date for a move-in day or groundbreaking and put a key ring on it. Apply online at ffgc.bank. First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 458729.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. We are on our final segment of the show. See, I teased that I tell stories, and I got no time to tell stories. There's still a lot to talk about with the time that we have left. I'll start with the National Football League. And there's no real Steelers stories. I don't think anybody erupted on a podcast this week, veteran, former Steeler, to criticize. I know that they're all taking sides now. They're busy with that. By the way, sad news from the world of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Wagner member of the Super Bowl teams of the 70s, passing away yesterday.
Yeah.
76 years old, RIP, one of the best safeties in the game.
It's great.
Mike Wagner. The Steelers obviously are going to have to reload and retool going into this year because there's no way, even if they bring Aaron Rodgers back, they're not going with 3 tight end sets. It's not what he wants. He wants 3 receivers out there. And right now, 2 of the receivers that you would think he wants nothing to do with in Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. So they're not options. So you've got Metcalf. Looking at what they might do, I think they're going to draft one, and I think they're going to sign one. And I don't think they'll trade. A.J. Brown's name has come up. Ironically, that now the new team entering the mix for A.J. Brown is New England, which I would love to see that happen. But there are people out there to trade. Obviously, Tyreek Hill was released. But honestly, I think the name that Mike McCarthy will eye up and that Pittsburgh will eye up, and I think there's a legit chance of him coming here, especially if Rodgers is the quarterback, is Mike Evans. Mike Evans has already announced he's going to play next year. He is a free agent. I'm sure Tampa will try to sign him, but Pittsburgh has more money than them because of the fact they have no young players they have to worry about retaining. So I would not be shocked. Just remember, you heard it here first. I would not be shocked if Mike Evans isn't wearing black and gold next year, which means they need a young guy. In addition to the elder statesmen of Metcalf and Evans. But, Nick, even if you don't agree with Evans, you have to agree there's going to be 3 receivers out there on that field. They're not going to run the offense they ran this year, not with McCarthy, especially if Rodgers comes back.
No, absolutely not. Mike from Greenfield wants 3 receivers, wants to spread it out. He's an offensive guy. He's going to call the plays. I think Rodgers, if I had to guess, will come back and we'll see. It's going to look different, but it should be better.
If he doesn't, what's the option? Because it's not going to be Will Howard. Everybody wants it to be Will Howard. It's not going to be. The Rooneys didn't bring McCarthy in to play Will Howard. They could have brought in Clint Kubiak to play Will Howard. It's going to be a veteran. If it's Rodgers, it's easy. Maybe they go out and sign a Kirk Cousins. Oh. Probably the biggest fear is they trade, because that's probably what they're going to do, and they trade capital away, and you see in black and gold next year Kyler Murray, because I think that's what they want to do. I don't know how much it helps the team. I think you could go with Malik Willis, but once again, McCarthy's not here to coach Malik Willis. They don't want 3-14. They don't want 4-13. They want 10-7. It will be a proven veteran at quarterback. If it's not Rodgers, it'll be one of the others.
And you're definitely against drafting Ty Simpson. You seem to not like him at all.
Ty Simpson is... When Ty Simpson got benched, after Ty Simpson was being hyped as this next great quarterback at Alabama, when he got benched to Jaden Milroe, that was the end for me. Like, he's not consistent enough. He played in that system, and when it got to a big game, he couldn't win. And they got into the playoff, but they had 4 losses and got criticized for having so many losses. To me, Tyler Simpson is not the guy that's going to be your franchise quarterback. And I know I said it about Nix, but I still don't think Nix has proven that he is. I mean, most important game of the year, he's nowhere to be found.
We got injured.
Yeah, but that's part of it. That's what I said about Jaden Daniels when I didn't want him to be a Patriot. It wasn't because I didn't think he had talent. I just thought he was fragile. I think Nix is too. I think Nix has spent time injured throughout his career. Simpson, the Steeler fans would be wishing he got injured if he was a member of the Steelers. I just don't think he has it. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I mean, if he's there when they pick at 21, all right. If they trade up to get this guy, huge mistake.
Well, the draft's in Pittsburgh, so they'll want a big pop at the podium when Art Rooney goes up there. I don't know. I mean, just because they failed with quarterbacks in the past, you have to draft that guy eventually. Yes, Mason Rudolph didn't work out. Kenny Pickett really didn't work out. But, I mean, do you just keep recycling old guys? Rodgers this year, Cousins next year. Don't you have to get the young guy for the future eventually?
Why don't you bet on the fact that whatever you do this year isn't going to work?
Yeah.
And you'll be in better position next year to pick a better quarterback than Ty Simpson.
Well, you're not. But if Rodgers plays, they win 10, 11 games, and they're picking in the bottom of the draft again.
Yeah, but if they draft Simpson, Rodgers is still playing.
That's true.
I mean, they're not drafting Ty Simpson to play him.
Not this year.
If they draft him, they're drafting him to sit him for a year behind whatever veteran they have, and then he's going to play next year. So to me, that's just a waste because you're not going to actually play him. Why not pick something that's going to help your team now? If you're going to go Rodgers, you're going to win 10 games. So pick something that's going to help you win 10 games if that's your goal.
That's true.
Because you're not going to move off of it at that point. Take Denzel Boston if he's there, or one of those receivers if they're still around.
Yeah, we have 2 months to talk about this, but should they go best available or by need? And they have a lot of needs.
Well, I mean, that could be the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Best available could be need because they need pretty much everything
They
at
do.
this point.
And this is a playoff team. Imagine how the really bad teams, they really need a lot. Jets, Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
we'll
they'll
see.
get what they need. The Steelers won't get what they need. I think if they go and get like a Denzel Boston, you get what you need to win 10 games this year, but you also get a big receiver for the future.
Right.
I think if you can look at it that way and say, yeah, maybe they should have taken the quarterback, but I wouldn't take. I think you can get comparable talented quarterback drafting somebody 3 rounds later. Neither one's going to be an NFL quarterback. Doesn't matter who it is. So whatever. We'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Normally I'm not, but maybe I'll be wrong on this one. I guess I got Darnold wrong.
Yep.
Maybe. Well,
Super Bowl champion.
yeah. So we'll
Looks
see.
awesome. Yeah.
The Daytona 500 was this past Sunday. Tyler Reddick, the winner, crashes at the end. That always happens when you bunch the cars up. A crash at the very end. Chase Elliott, who looked like he was going to win, got clipped from behind, actually crossed the finish line spinning as part of the crash. Dejected, still hasn't won a Daytona 500. I was actually pulling for Elliott to win that race. It's tough now with Truex not around. Although they do have like Jimmy Johnson still there, Kyle Busch is still there. So you got to sell those guys because nobody knows the new guys. But Tyler Reddick, it's about as big of a pop as William Byron got the last 2 years winning.
First of all, I thought Michael Jordan won the race because that's all I heard.
What
He
was his
up there on
car?
the podium. People went nuts. I felt bad for Tyler Reddick. Nobody talked about him.
Maybe Denny Hamlin was happy because I think he's trying to retire in the worst way, but the guys that are there on his team can't do anything, like Bubba Wallace for years who can't win anything.
Yeah.
Maybe he's hoping somebody can actually win so he could leave and still make money as the partial owner of that team. But there used to be so much fanfare with the Daytona 500. Now it's just, like I told you last week, I had to look and verify that it was actually this past weekend because I heard nothing about it leading up to it.
But you were busy watching Pebble Beach, right? The golf.
Didn't watch a second of it.
Oh.
Yeah, too easy. Too easy of a course. I did like the one. I might watch. They're at Riviera. This is Tiger's tournament this week.
Yeah.
I might watch a little bit of that. Sometimes that's a little more difficult and challenging. But now they've got these exclusive events or premium events, whatever they call them, where they have no cut because they want to be like Live. They hate Live, but they want to do stuff like Live. And that really helps the younger lower golfers when you have a tournament where you only put like 70 people in, which by the way is none of them. So they're not capitalizing on any of that. But
no.
Hey, whatever. The PGA Tour, they're too big to fail. Although Liv is getting World Golf ranking points this year, so something changing a little bit, and they're playing 4-day tournaments. All right, we could talk college basketball, but we got some time to do that. I don't want to deprive you, Nick. I know you were over back and forth. I can only imagine the expense Brian had flying you back and forth to these Olympic Games. But tell us what you've seen so far in the Olympics. What can we get excited about for the last few days of the Olympic Games?
First of all, Italy's amazing, beautiful country. I mean, the people are just lovely and so historic. They actually
Did
have
you learn
culture over
Italian?
there. I did. Oui. No, that's
okay.
French. Oh, I was in the wrong country. I'm getting ready for the next Olympic Games in the winter season there in France in 4 years. But yeah, Italy has been lovely, and the torch was burned my hand a little. I touched it wrong. Yeah, but it's been fun. The quad god fell down. The Michaela Schifrin won gold. That was fun. The bobsled is fun. The luge, all those amazing activities that I don't know why anyone would do them, but they look like fun on TV. Hockey, as you mentioned, the U.S. women win gold. The U.S. men maybe can win gold. Sid is most likely not going to play the rest of the tournament I just saw, so Canada may be in trouble. But yeah, it's been an amazing spectacle. Really is.
And a couple of things. I know you know this. You just probably omitted it. Alyssa Liu wins figure skating gold today, the first time since 2002 that an American has won figure skating gold. And we did get confirmation that was not Mitch Keller that scored that goal in overtime to help the USA women win gold medal today. That was Megan Keller.
Megan Keller. His sister, maybe?
scored that.
We'll get to
I'm
the
not
bottom
sure.
of that.
And we all are wondering, people have been asking me, and in a couple of years, the Summer Olympics are in Los Angeles.
Right.
Are you planning on learning English to cover that one?
If anyone listens to me on the air, they know I can't speak English, so I have a year and a half or 2 years to get ready.
The Olympics are so entertaining. I wish I watched some of them. I did turn it on a couple, but it's always like stuff I don't want to watch. Like I don't want to watch that curling. I don't want to watch
Curling's fun.
ice dancing.
You do it drunk.
I saw a little bit of skiing.
Skiing's great.
I didn't see the luge or bobsled. That was never on when I turned
on
it
at like 1 in the morning.
I like the speed skating.
Speed skating.
I like that. I did see a little bit of that. I watched hockey a couple of times over the weekend.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some interesting stuff there, but I try to turn on the main channel because I figure they're gonna have the best stuff on.
Yeah.
And every time I turn on the main channel, it's something I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
So
well, they program it for people who don't like sports.
then, like the NHL, I turn the channel and I just forget to turn it back.
That's
'cause I
right.
start watching whatever I turn it to
Yeah.
instead when it's all said and done. But they're over on Sunday. We've got the closing ceremonies, all of that, so that Nick can be back full time to
I'm
covering
back.
the NBA and WNBA. The NBA had their All-Star game.
They did.
Well, they had like a series of games. They didn't play to 300 this year. It
Team
was-
Stars won, and even the NBA
They beat
expert
Team
I am.
Stripes, correct?
They did, absolutely.
Yes.
Giannis was there, SGA, MVP.
Bronny was
Luka
busy.
there.
The court needed cleaned up.
Court
quite a
had
bit.
so much mess on it. Yeah, LeBron, he's about 85 years old. He was still out there.
And if we got confirmation, did the WNBA season start this week? They're not in the Olympics. So
No.
did they start or are we still waiting for
They
that?
keep pushing it back. I don't know when they're
Okay.
going to start it.
Okay. Because I'm waiting to see Caitlin Clark.
She's still on vacation, I
She's
guess.
announcing and
Yeah, she
like,
is
analyzing
announcing.
and stuff. So we
Yeah.
want to get her back out there playing
The
basketball.
active players are announcing now. Used to be you retired, then you announced. Yeah.
Well, we'll keep you updated next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this week's edition of The Sports Voice. We'll be back next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
You may have noticed a new internet company knocking at your door with claims like, "I'm not here to sell you anything," or "I wouldn't lie to you." The truth is, Armstrong has played an important role in your community for decades, and we're not going anywhere. That new internet provider will probably change their name, get bought out by another company, or fold completely. Armstrong, the internet you count on, the people you trust. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com today, or anytime in the future.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 W266DB, WMBS Uniontown. Now it is CBS News at 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Some tense moments in Lake City, Minnesota this afternoon as a group at a watch party in Taylor Heisey's hometown watched her and the rest of the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team win the gold over Canada 2-1 in overtime. Following that win in Milan, USA's Alyssa Liu won her free skate program, the first